Hey there, mama friend, and welcome to the 5-Minute Mom podcast, where we'll talk about real life, real faith, real fast. For today's show notes or to get free Monday Mom devotionals, visit audrahaney.com. Well, hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. Well, I've had a request from one of my best friends in the world. She's actually one of the best moms in the world. And she asked me to give some biblical perspective on mom shaming. And it makes me sad that a great mom like my friend would have to ever struggle with something like this. But the truth is, if you've been a mom for any amount of time, mom shaming is a reality. Mom shaming to me is when someone disagrees with a mom's approach to parenting and then attacks, demeans, or passively aggressively cuts down those approaches in a way that is not edifying. According to a poll conducted by the University of Michigan C.S. Mott Children's Hospital, 61% of mothers have been questioned about their parenting decisions, and most of them were questioned about discipline, diet and nutrition, sleep, breastfeeding versus bottle feeding, child safety, and child care decisions. So in light of those statistics, here's some encouragement for you. First, God has a specific blueprint for your family. It is beautiful. It is unique. It does not have to look like the culture or even your friends. You need to go to God for that blueprint. I think all new moms feel wobbly at first. Even seasoned moms feel wobbly a lot of times. But God tells us in James 1:5, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. But here's the key. The next part says to ask in faith. God will answer you through his word and believers who speak loving truth that resonates with your spirit. If you've been praying and asking God for answers, he will also align circumstances around you to bring answers, like the perfect resources at the perfect time, an idea you've never had before, or speak to you through a story or a sermon that someone shares. An answer from God brings freedom. This is the most important ingredient to overcoming mom shaming, because you have to grab hold of this principle firmly before you can parent confidently and know that you're going in the right direction. Secondly, make sure you're open to new ideas and you're not parenting from pride. The word I used earlier, edify, some synonyms for that are instructive, improving, inspiring, elevating, enlightening, uplifting, instructional. Correction is different than condemnation. Mom shaming does not do any of those things for us. Mom shaming isn't helpful, it is hurtful. And I think it comes from another person's insecurity and need to justify their own actions by tearing others down. Maybe they feel threatened because someone is doing it differently. Again, go back to point number 1. And I find that this isn't always the case, but most times mom shaming comes through moms in the same season as you, and not from seasoned moms who have experience. But in any case, healthy correction comes from deep relationship that's been established first. It asks questions to understand. It seeks to bring restoration to a broken situation, and it is bathed in love and grace. And this may be a stretch, but I believe that if a mom is truly seeking God and is not an abusive person, issues like feeding, sleep schedules, healthy discipline, and nutrition are rarely, if ever, a cause for biblical correction. And in my opinion, it is never done over social media. As moms, there's always room to learn and grow, but don't be afraid to learn from your friends or be too prideful to receive correction, but discern the spirit behind it. And third, you cannot control mom shaming or those participating in it, but you are responsible for your own reaction to it. As I mentioned before, attacks will come for many reasons, but one of the best things to remember is that we do not battle against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, and the spiritual darkness of the world. Anything done in a spirit that tears others down in condemnation is from the enemy. The person is merely a tool of the enemy in that moment. The worst thing you can do in that situation is fight back or internalize the offense. The truth is, feeding an offense feeds our flesh. We all know this. Honestly, it feels so good to our flesh to get ticked off or rant about what someone has said about us or go off about how they have wronged us. But the truth is, if we choose to get offended and act out on our anger in an ungodly way because of mom shaming, we are sinning too. Proverbs 19:11 says, "Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense." Ecclesiastes 7:21-22 says, "Do not take to heart all the things people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. Your heart knows that many times you yourself have cursed others." Proverbs 18:19 says, "A brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city, and quarreling is like the bars of a castle." Yes, there's a place for righteous anger, but the anger, the bitterness, the quarreling that comes with taking offense is not worth the damage you will internalize from an offhanded comment. It is natural to feel angry or sad, but if you are confident in point 1 that we discussed, you can release the attack in prayer and submission to God and see it for what it is. And then you can move on without poisoning your own spirit. Jesus said it would be inevitable that stumbling blocks would come. If the shaming is consistent and turns into bullying, you may need to approach that person one-on-one in love and address the conflict in honesty. But make sure you approach the conflict in a biblical way as well. In closing, you are the only one chosen to parent your child. Do it with the wisdom that God gives you and move on when the mom shaming comes. If you feel guilt, shame, or sadness after a comment, go to God for your affirmation as a mom. Be open to new ideas, the example of others, and corrections given in grace, gentleness, and love. But don't let the sin of another cause you to stumble in sin too. So that's the end of our 5 minutes. Please tune in again soon. If you want to learn more about me or sign up for the podcast newsletter or get a free devotional, visit audrahaney.com. And if you enjoyed this, would you please leave a quick review? Reviews are so important for podcasters, and it helps more moms find us, and it would be a great blessing.